Hey guys, how's it going? Newport City Nightmare back with you once again on the Monday edition of the Newport City Nightmare podcast. Yes, the Monday edition. We are going to be doing two editions of the Newport City Nightmare podcast. One on a Monday and one on a Saturday. Then we get ready to find out what's going down tonight on Monday Night Raw, of course. And we're doing a few things here this evening. God knows when I'm going to be putting this up, but at some point it will be here on a Monday. But yeah, basically on a Monday podcast, what we're going to do is we are going to look at old school pay-per-views, which we're going to do latest news and stuff, what's going on in the world of professional wrestling. And of course, like we've got Monday Night Raw tonight, so a bit of a preview for Raw tonight. Of course, hot off the heels of SmackDown this past Friday night. And of course, big match last week for Seth Rollins and Sami Zayn. Of course, what a great main event that was on Monday Night Raw. And we'll have a look. We'll have a look through. This podcast is probably going to be around 30 minutes long. But like I said, like I did say on Saturday, the main podcast will be on Saturday nights, Saturday evenings, whatever. So we're going to get things started, guys, with a bit of news, of course, coming out with, of course, NXT now. That coming out this week. That NXT is going to be on. It's going to be going on the CW network, and of course, everything coming out about the NWA. They were supposed to be on the CW network, and then looks like that's not going to happen, or at least it's going to be on there. Not going to be on their TV. It's going to be on like their what do they say? I think it's like their app or something, because of all that bloody cocaine malarkey. But yeah, that was crazy. I couldn't believe that. But like, what is he thinking, old Billy Corgan? No idea with that one. But they said also in the news, we have had Vince McMahon selling a lot of his free. I think it's a third of his shares. So maybe he's looking to cash out in this next couple of weeks. That's not looking good for Vince. Of course, Vince taking out of creative as well, so not looking good for Vince at the moment. I'm just looking at bringing up some news here from Wrestling Inc. I should say. Just having a quick look, skate around, see what's going on. Bryan Danielson. It was actually said, I'm not going to cover AEW like week to week, but like on this Monday show, if there's anything going on in AEW that is of note, we will have a look. Apparently Saturday night, I haven't watched Collision yet, because obviously here in Britain it's on ITV, but it's not on until like Tuesday, I think. AEW's gone right off a radar for me. Yeah, apparently Bryan Danielson has been announced for a AEW Continental Classic, which I think is going to be like a round robin tournament, a bit like the G1. So I think it's just like, right, Danielson, you can be in the G1. We'll make our own G1 basically. I think that's what they're trying to do. But here we go. Just having a cup of tea. I'm recording this on a Sunday. Yeah, like I said, that's going to be crazy. Crazy tournament. It's a round robin tournament, you don't see many of them in American wrestling, so that's going to be good. But like I said, I'm not going to cover AEW that much on the podcast. It's mainly going to be a WWE podcast. We're going to cover Raw, SmackDown, NXT. I know we didn't cover NXT on Saturday, but we will cover NXT this Saturday on the podcast. Like I said, Monday and Saturday, we'll have on Mondays. Like I said, we'll have a bit of old school with like reviews of old pay-per-views and stuff like that. Telling you what I thought of them pay-per-views, but back into this. Mandy Rose has mixed feelings about the last match. It's like, yeah, is Mandy Rose really going to get into it? Get back in the WWE? Like I said, she's probably making a lot of money, so to sell her body, but that's another thing altogether. Chris Jericho says AEW personality is modern day Mean Gene. What are you talking about? Renee Paquette. People have said that about Renee a couple of times. Or should I say, Renee Moxley good? It was a Jim Cornette. Yeah, no one's better than Mean Gene, of course. But that looks like the top stories this week. Like I said, Vince McMahon selling his stock, and there goes my sausage. Yeah, just making some sausages. Well, not making them, cooking them. Eric Bischoff responding to CM Punk might be under the devil mask in AEW. I fucking died there. Of course, Survivor Series coming up soon. That's going to be a crazy one. Of course, we'll probably be Survivor Series. We'll probably be reviewing on this Monday show, because obviously Survivor Series would be on the on the Saturday, wouldn't it? So yeah, we'll probably be reviewing it on the Monday show. Like I say, if there's any pay-per-views, we'll probably review them on the Monday show. So let's get into the weaves then, shall we? Like, that is basically the news this week. I said we'll give you some news every week, but I'm going to get on to another segment that I'm going to like to do, is this day in wrestling history. Actually, that's the 11th. We don't want that. This day, bear with me, guys. I haven't even, I just literally pressed record this morning. So, it's just the way it is. But like I said, recording this on a Sunday, which will be my recording day. Friday and Sunday, basically, are going to be recording days for me. So anyway, this day in wrestling, like I said, this is going to be what we're going to be doing once a week here on this podcast. Like I said, this podcast is not going to be as long as the other podcast, but like I said, we're looking at half hour, 40 minutes on these podcasts. Like I said, so this day in wrestling history, November the 13th. So, of course, in 1950, in Tulsa, Oklahoma, Vern Gagne defeated Sonny Myers to win the vacant NWA World Junior Heavyweight Championship. I was just a twinkle in, well, I think my mother was a twinkle in the eye. No, she wasn't even born in 1950. So 1993, in 1993 though, ECW held their first ever November to Remember live event in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Was that a pay-per-view? I'm not sure if it was a pay-per-view or not. The main event was ECW World Heavyweight Champion Sabu and Road Warrior Hawk. I didn't know Hawk actually wrestled in EC. Oh yeah, he did. Of course he did. When he was on Running Man Animal in wrestling at the time. And taking on the team of television champion Terry Funk and King Kong Bundy. Crazy match where I think Bundy turned on Funk and hit him with the avalanche splash, allowing Sabu to get the pin. Crazy. 1995 in the New Sumo Hall, Tokyo, Japan, a cross-promotion event took place between WCW and New Japan Pro Wrestling, entitled WCW World in Japan. Main event saw the United States champion Sting defend his belt against Kinsei Sasaki. Nice. 2005, of course, with Heavy Heart, of course, the death of one Eddie Guerrero at the age of 38 in a hotel room in Minnesota. Yeah, there's less of that. Less we talk about that, the better. But Eddie, what a legend Eddie was. We're going to get into that when we review Survivor Series 2002. We're going to review in a couple of minutes. I watched it last night as well, as I'm recording this, and it still holds up. Survivor Series 2002. So the next couple of weeks, these next couple of Sundays, we're going to do like arguably the best Survivor Series reviews. I said next week we're going to do 2003, a year later, which was actually really good Survivor Series 2. In 2005 then, going back onto this, TNA Genesis was held in the Impact Zone in Orlando, Florida. On the show, Christian, now known as Christian Cage, made his first TNA appearance, and AJ Styles defeated Pretty Williams to retain the X Division Championship. And in the main event, Rhino and Team 3D defeated Jeff Jarrett and America's Most Wanted, of course, James Storm and Chris Harris. 1 year later, in 2006, Monday Night Raw was held in Manchester, England. Jeff Hardy won the Intercontinental Championship after pinning Johnny Nitro. And in the main event, Rated RKO, Edge and Randy Orton became the tag team champions after defeating Ric Flair and Roddy Piper. Crazy times. And a year after that, I think, 2007 on SmackDown, The Miz and John Morrison defeated MVP and Matt Hardy to win the WWE Tag Team titles. Of course, what a team they were. The Miz and John Morrison. Well, their first run. Well, about their second run, maybe not. But in 2011, a couple of years later, We had TNA Turning Point took place at Impact Zone in Orlando, Florida. Main event saw Bobby Roode retain the TNA World Heavyweight Championship against one AJ Styles. And 8 years later, in 2019, AEW Dynamite was held in Nashville, Tennessee. The night opened with John Moxley defeating Michael Nakazawa in 45 seconds. And the main event saw Frankie Kazarian and Scorpio Sky retain the tag belts against Jericho and Guevara. Also in 2019, he had tickets went on sale for WrestleMania 36. To be held in, of course, Raymond James Stadium. That did not happen, of course, because it happened in the Performance Center instead. And 1 year later, 2020 on SmackDown, Drew McIntyre headed to SmackDown from Raw, from Roman Reigns. In Night's main event, he defeated Jey Uso in an unsanctioned match. Notable birthdays for this date as well. Hiroshi Tanahashi, 1976. Sarah Del Rey, 1980. And Ice Train, former Ice Train of course of WCW fame. So yeah, that's this day in wrestling history. And I like that. I like that a lot. So yeah, we're going to get into our first review of the podcast. Yeah, this is exciting. This is exciting because, like I said, Survivor Series 2002 we're going to look at here. Like I said, it was a great pay-per-view. It's just up and down the card. There was so much going on in WWE at the time. We just had the brand split earlier on in the year. And this is one of the first pay-per-views where you had obviously you had like your general managers, and there was just so much going on Raw and SmackDown at the time. It was held on November the 17th, 2002, 4 days from today. So I thought, we could have picked the 13th of November one, but we went for the 17th. You said we're going to, over the next couple of weeks in November, we are going to do, on this Monday podcast, we're going to do Survivor Series for the next couple of weeks. And then in December, we're going to start doing like Armageddon and things like that. So that's how we're going to do it on these review style podcasts, I call it, I suppose. So it was held on November the 17th, 2002 in Madison Square Garden in the wonderful New York City. It was attendance of 17,930. I thought Madison Square Garden was smaller than that. I thought it was only 15,000. And a buy rate of 340,000. AEW wishes that they could get fucking half of that these days. But enough of that. And as we, coming into this show, of course, we had the Elimination Chamber. Of course, Brock had this injury, didn't he? Going into it against the Big Show as well. Big Show just come over to SmackDown in the draft. Well, he just got drafted over. I think he got traded over. I think. So let's go into the results. Actually, on Heat, Lance Storm and William Regal defeated Goldust and the Hurricane. I thought Lance and Regal were the tag champs then. Maybe that was 2 years later actually. We kicked off with a elimination tables match, a tag team elimination tables match with the Dudleys being Bubba and Spike, and Jeff Hardy with the Dudleys, against 3 Minute Warning, 3 minutes, I'm out of here, Rico and Jamal with Rosie. This match was nuts. I just remember seen it last night, and it was just absolutely crazy match. That it's a tables match. What do you expect? It's an ECW style match. I think it come down in the end to Bubba and Rosie, maybe, if I remember rightly. And then Devon comes out right at the end. And then it was like, oh, Devon's back in the colours, because obviously Devon was Reverend Devon for a while. Oh, this is crazy, and all this. And then it comes out, and then obviously they hit the 3D through the table, and the Dudleys, Spike and Bubba and Jeff, get the Duke in that one. So it was a great match. I have to go back on this and look at Survivor Series when we finished going through the results. See what the actual star ratings that Dave gave them. Fucking melter. And we'll have a look through that in a minute. So, like I said, this is going to be. We're trying to shoot for half hour here, but we'll go longer if we need to. So Billy Kidman then defeated Jamie Noble with Nydia. Nydia. Oh, Nydia. I got my Nydia, get my shotgun. Yeah, that's how he spoke. Good little match, if I remember rightly. Billy Kidman winning. Jamie Noble was like the longest reigning champion in WWE at the time, and they said that before the match kicked off. And then afterwards, just like, and he just went and beat him. Oh, that's fair enough. Well, like I said, that was a good little cruiserweight match. You know, they always had good matches, Billy and Jamie Noble. Of course, from my times in WCW as well. Oh, sorry, guys, just having a bit of a drink here. Fourth match of the night, well, technically third match, I suppose, was Victoria versus Trish Stratus in a hardcore match. Victoria coming out on top in that, winning 7 minutes and 1 second. Oh, by the way, the tables match was 14 minutes and 22 seconds. And the Billy Kidman match with Jamie Noble was 7 minutes and 29 seconds. So, 7 minutes for a hardcore match. But like I said, it was a good women's hardcore match, one of the best, really. Then we had the WWE Championship on the line, the Big Show defeating Brock Lesnar in 4 minutes and 19 seconds. Christ, I didn't think it was that short. Of course, these first couple of matches had to be short because obviously they had the tag match, which we knew was going to go long, and then the Elimination Chamber match. Yeah, it was I remember watching this, obviously, 21 years ago, and thinking, why? Why would you take the belt off Brock? Obviously, we all know now because Brock would come back, win the Rumble, and then obviously face Kurt at WrestleMania, which we'll probably get into. Yeah, it was like it was a throwaway thing. Big Show won the lost belt and then played for Armageddon. So it's like, was there any point in that? Or I don't know. But yeah, it was a good match really. Pauline and Thompson screwed Brock over, and then Big Show won it with a choke slam on the chair. So next, though, arguably one of the greatest tag team matches in WWE history. Los Guerreros defeating Edge and Rey Mysterio and Kurt Angle and Chris Benoit in 19 minutes and 25 seconds. Where to start with this match? It was just crazy. Like, it was just such a good tag match. Like I said, I will go into try and look at the star ratings after this. Because, yeah, definitely you have to look at the star ratings for this. But we'll have a look. But yeah, Los Guerreros won. Eddie and Chavo. Of course, Eddie been passed away all them years now, and we're reviewing an Eddie Guerrero match, so it's always good. And finally, the Elimination Chamber match for the World Heavyweight Championship. Shawn Michaels defeating Triple H with Ric Flair. Chris Jericho, Kane, Booker T, and Rob Van Dam in 39 minutes and 20 seconds, longest match of the night. And it was bonkers. And of course, being the first match of its kind, obviously it had parts of the Rumble, it had parts of the War Games matches and stuff like that. So it was cool. It was a cool concept, and obviously it's still around today. Yeah, it was a great night for wrestling. Of course, it's a 4-star show, Survivor Series 2002, and you don't get much better than that. So let's have a look. I said 4.5 stars for. Let's have a look. Survivor Series 2002 star ratings. This is off Internet Wrestling Database. Right. So we'll start with the table match. That got 3 stars. I think that's a bit too much. It was a good match, but Billy Kidman versus Jamie Noble got 3.25 stars. That's about right, I think. Victoria beating Trish Stratus 1.25. Yeah, it's probably because he wouldn't hardly anything on there. Well, so Big Show and Brock got 2 stars, but the hardcore match got 1.25. Okay. Really? I thought that would have had more, that triple threat tag match. 3.5 stars. I thought that would have had 4, surely. And not quite the not quite, but 4.25 stars for the Elimination Chamber match. Christ, that's crazy. That is crazy. guys, before we get out here, because this is, like I said, this is only the review podcast. Basically going to be a review podcast. Like I said, if it is a pay-per-view on a Saturday or a Sunday, then we'll have this on this show, so it'll be a bit longer. But that's going to do it for this week. Like I said, if you do have comments for the podcast, you want to see a Q&A on the podcast, let me know, because I can do Q&As on this podcast. So this is going to be the shorter podcast. Of course, we're going to be reviewing 3 shows on Saturday, Raw, NXT, and SmackDown. That's going to be on this coming Saturday night. Actually, yeah, that's a week after. I'm thinking Survivor Series this weekend, but it's not, is it? Next weekend, I should say. Well, this weekend, because obviously this is coming out on a Monday. Yeah. Like I said, give us a listen on Spotify. Give us a listen on YouTube, even on Facebook. Give us some 5-star rating on Spotify, because that always helps. Like I said, you've got 2,000 followers on Facebook, and you've got 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. If you can watch this in its entirety on YouTube, that would be a massive help. Like I said, Monday, I'm going to think of a time, but I'll let you know in the community section